The whispering walls of Baker Street. As I sit here, sipping my tea and scribbling away in my notebook, I am reminded of a most peculiar case that has been unfolding in the quiet streets of London. It is a tale of mystery, of intrigue, of whispers and shadows that dance upon the walls of Baker Street. It began with a visit from Miss Lemon, the immaculate and efficient secretary of the illustrious detective, Hercule Poirot. She arrived at his doorstep, her usually composed demeanor disrupted by a faint blush on her cheeks and a hint of distress in her voice. Poirot, always attuned to the subtleties of human emotion, sensed that something was amiss and invited her to share her concerns. As they sat down in his comfortable armchair, Miss Lemon revealed that her usually orderly world was beset by chaos. Her sister, Mrs. Hubbard, had been experiencing a series of bizarre occurrences at the boarding house she managed. Valuables had gone missing, but not just any valuables, a pair of shoes, a wedding ring, a stethoscope, and even a book of recipes. Poirot listened intently, his mind whirling with the possibilities. The next day, Mrs. Hubbard herself arrived at Poirot's doorstep, her eyes still shining with a hint of excitement. She was accompanied by her brother, Len Bateson, a young man with a mop of red hair and a mischievous grin. Together, they presented Poirot with a list of the missing items, each one more peculiar than the last. Poirot's eyes narrowed as he pored over the list, his mind racing with theories and hypotheses. As the investigation continued, Poirot began to uncover a web of secrets and lies that threatened to ensnare them all. He discovered that the missing items were not just random trinkets, but rather part of a larger game, a game that seemed to be aimed at unraveling the very fabric of their lives. As the sun dipped below the rooftops of Baker Street, Poirot sat in his armchair, his eyes fixed on the fireplace, his mind whirling with the whispers and shadows that danced upon the walls. He knew that the game was far from over, and that the greatest challenge lay ahead, to unravel the tangled threads of this mystery and uncover the truth behind the whispering walls of Baker Street. And so, dear reader, join me on this journey into the heart of mystery and intrigue. Let us follow the trail of clues and whispers, as we unravel the tangled threads of this enigmatic case. For in the world of detective work, nothing is as it seems, and the truth is often hidden behind the whispering walls of Baker Street. The sun had long since set over the tranquil campus of the prestigious university, casting a warm orange glow over the elegant rooms of Mrs. Hubbard's residence. The air was thick with the scent of freshly brewed coffee and the soft hum of polite conversation. Amidst this tranquil backdrop, a sense of unease hung in the air, like the faintest whisper of a storm on the horizon. Mrs. Nicoltius, the proprietor of the estate, sat perched on the edge of her chair, her eyes flashing with a mixture of indignation and desperation. "Val, Val, Val!" she exclaimed, her voice rising to a shrill pitch. "It's a scandal, I tell you. This Italian cook and her husband, they're swindling us blind." Mrs. Hubbard, the gracious hostess, listened patiently to her patron's tirade, her expression a mask of calm and composure. "I assure you, Mrs. Nicoltius, everything is being taken care of with the utmost rigor," she soothed. "Our students are eating well, but not excessively. Luxury is not something we can afford here." As the conversation continued, a sense of unease began to settle over the room. Mrs. Nicolaides' words were laced with a venomous intensity, as if she were fighting for her very survival. Meanwhile, Mrs. Hubbart's calm demeanor belied a deep-seated anxiety, her eyes darting nervously around the room as if searching for an escape. It was then that Poirot, the renowned detective, entered the room, his eyes twinkling with a knowing glint. "Ah, Mrs. Nicolaides, my dear lady," he said, his voice dripping with warmth and authority. "I think it's time we called in the authorities, don't you?" The room fell silent, as if the very words themselves had been a bombshell. Mrs. Nicolaides' face turned a deep shade of crimson, while Mrs. Hubbart's eyes grew wide with alarm. The students, too, seemed frozen in place, their faces set in a mixture of shock and terror. And then, as if the very fabric of the room had been rent asunder, Celia Austen burst into the room, her face pale and her eyes wild. "I did it," she stammered, her words tumbling out in a rush. "I took all those things. I don't know why. I just couldn't help myself." The room erupted into chaos as the students rushed to surround Celia, their faces a mixture of shock and sympathy. Poirot, however, remained calm and composed, his eyes fixed intently on the young woman's face. "I think we've uncovered the truth, my dear Celia," he said, his voice dripping with compassion. "But I fear there is more to this story than meets the eye. Much more." As the night wore on, the mystery deepened, like a dark and foreboding storm cloud gathering on the horizon. Poirot's eyes seemed to bore into the very soul of the situation, as if he were searching for a hidden truth, a secret that lay just beneath the surface. And yet, amidst the chaos and confusion, a glimmer of hope seemed to flicker to life. Celia, the young woman who had confessed to the crimes, seemed to radiate a sense of innocence, of vulnerability, as if she were a fragile flower torn from its stem. As the night drew to a close, Poirot's eyes locked onto hers, his gaze a mixture of compassion and understanding. "You are not alone, Celia," he said, his voice low and soothing. "We will get to the bottom of this, and we will bring light to the darkness." And with that, the storm that had been brewing all night finally broke, releasing a torrent of secrets and lies that had been hidden for so long. The truth, it seemed, was about to be revealed, and the very fabric of the university would never be the same again. The fog had crept in, shrouding the streets of Hickory Road in an eerie mist. It was a morning like any other, yet something felt off. The residents of 26 Hickory Road, a quaint boarding house, went about their daily routines, unaware of the darkness that lurked within their midst. Miss Sally, a vibrant and intelligent young woman, had been sensing a growing sense of unease. She confided in Monsieur Poirot, the house's proprietor, about her concerns. He listened intently, his piercing eyes taking in every detail. "Someone is playing a very dangerous game," she whispered. As the days passed, the tension mounted. Celia, a young and fragile girl, was found dead in her room. The official verdict was suicide, but Sally remained convinced that it was murder. Poirot, sensing the gravity of the situation, began to investigate. He discovered a trail of clues, each one leading him closer to the truth. A stolen stethoscope, a mysterious letter, and a hidden poison bottle all pointed to one suspect, Nigel Chapman. But Poirot knew that appearances could be deceiving, and he dug deeper. As the investigation unfolded, Poirot confronted the residents of the boarding house, one by one. Each one seemed to be hiding something, but Poirot's keen mind pieced together the puzzle. The truth was far more sinister than anyone could have imagined. Nigel Chapman, the seemingly innocent resident, was revealed to be a master manipulator. He had been using his intelligence and charm to hide his true identity and crimes. Poirot discovered that Chapman had a history of falsifying documents and had been involved in a drug ring. As the truth began to unravel, the residents of the boarding house were left reeling. Celia, the innocent victim, had been exploited and murdered. The darkness that had lurked within their midst was finally exposed. In the end, Poirot stood victorious, his reputation as a brilliant detective cemented. But as he left the boarding house, he knew that the true danger lay not in the acts of violence, but in the manipulation and deceit that could lead to such horrors. The story of Hickory Road would forever be etched in the minds of those who lived through it, a reminder of the importance of vigilance and the devastating consequences of unchecked evil. And so, dear listener, I bid you adieu. May this tale have brought you a sense of calm and serenity, and may you always remember that each day is a new page waiting to be written. Until next time, when I shall regale you with another tale of mystery and intrigue. Farewell, and may your dreams be sweet.